pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. We're hoping that we have an alternate to replace one of our missing members this evening, but as of yet, he hasn't shown up. So we'll proceed with the roll call. Patrice Scott is here. Butch Cushing
Here.
is here. Tom McLaughlin is absent. David Kent is absent. Stephanie Halter
Is here.
is here, and we're hoping Jack Scarborough is going to join us shortly. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes from our last meeting, January 8th? I've looked at them. I didn't see anything. Needed correction. Anybody else? No. Fine. Okay, I would entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
Okay, Butch. Stephanie, can you second?
I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes are adopted. All right, now we are set to have a public hearing on case 242001 SE4 219. I would just like to ask our presenters if they're here. Hi there. I just would like to, it's up to you as the applicant, whether you'd like to proceed with the 3 members, that is a quorum of the board, or if you'd like to wait and come back to another meeting.
I don't believe we have any objection proceeding. You have a quorum, correct? So,
Yeah, we have a quorum. So,
I don't believe we have any
okay, I'm hoping our alternate comes. He was supposed to be here, so that would give us one more, but
Okay,
just
yeah,
if you're comfortable, that's
May I
fine.
use your easel?
Please do, yes. Okay. Okay, and just for people at home, this is for a special exception request for, to allow commercial excavation, a sand and gravel pit, which is a non-permitted use or just not mentioned in our zoning ordinance. So it involves a state statute and then a special exception from the board.
Yes. So my name is John Warzoka. I'm with Horizons Engineering.
Okay.
We're the engineer that's been working on this for Ambrose Brothers, with Rob Ambrose, who's our client. So we'd like to present this application. So essentially what this project involves is this is right on the Plymouth Bridgewater town line, adjacent to the current Ambrose Brothers gravel pit that's in Bridgewater, right across the street from Bridgewater Power. And what we'd like to seek to get is a special exception to allow essentially continued excavation of the existing gravel pit that's in Bridgewater over onto the property that Ambrose Brothers has purchased in the town of Plymouth. This is in the agricultural zone. There is no mention in your zoning ordinance, as we pointed out, of gravel excavation. So the state law 155E has a provision that says that gravel excavations are subject to a special exception if it's not contemplated in the ordinance directly. So that's what we're here to seek tonight.
Okay, great. Let's see, could you just inform us a little bit about exactly what one does in a gravel and sand pit?
Sure, and Rob, you can elaborate if you have anything, but so basically, if you're familiar with driving down 3A and the pit that's there, so, and I believe this is primarily, you're pulling a lot of road sand out of there, is that correct?
Yeah, winter sand and crushed gravel for the most
Okay,
part.
winter sand and crushed gravel.
Yeah,
Okay.
so essentially, the pit is just to remove material for use off-site elsewhere. And the benefit of this also is it creates a level site that can be used for something else in the future, potentially. That site was a gravel pit or sand pit. Historically, we found an aerial photograph that was included in the application package in the 70s, early 70s. And when you go out there, you can clearly see that a bunch of material was excavated out. There's just a lot more that can be taken. So what's really involved is this is, it's just a loader and excavation equipment in there, probably a screen plant, and potentially a crusher if needed on, occasional basis if there's bigger stuff that they get into, crushing it, creating temporary stockpiles of aggregate, and then loading them in trucks with a loader and hauling them off. Basically no different than what's going on the property adjacent to the site right now in Bridgewater. So basically it's just looking to continue this on over into making the pit bigger.
Okay, Mr. Ambrose, did you require a permit from Bridgewater to do this?
The piece that we bought in Bridgewater, the 10-acre piece, was a grandfather pit. So when we acquired it, we went to the selectmen, and they recognized that the pit was in operation before. I don't remember the exact date, but if the RSA 155E, if you're in operation and you tell the state before 1979.
Yeah.
So it's...
Right, so that one was grandfathered.
Yeah, so it still follows the same reclamation plan, but it's...
Okay, though that's what I was getting to, is the property in Plymouth, was it ever reclaimed? Or,
Well, no, it's not really in a state of... The slopes, they just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
they just stopped, so, and that,
Yeah.
it's my ignorance, excuse me, but I'm just wondering, will you have a reclamation plan? And-
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. So we have a grading plan. Just know this is we're in the process of preparing an alteration of terrain permit because it's greater than 100,000 square feet of disturbance that's being proposed.
Okay.
But before we proceeded very far with that, we wanted to go through the process here with the town and make sure that you guys.
Okay,
are
so
with it.
whatever permits you require from the state or,
John's taking, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be pursuing, so really, the main permit that's required, there are no wetlands on the site, it's all very high and dry.
that's great.
So it's, it would be just an alteration of terrain permit through the Department of Environmental Services.
Okay,
So this is kind of an overview of what the proposed grading will look like. So essentially, this is the pit in Bridgewater over here. We're basically holding the elevation that's the floor of that pit right now, which is roughly equivalent to where Route 3 is, a little bit higher, and just carrying that out. And then these slopes are consistent with the alteration of terrain permit rules for steepness. And there's a bench in here based on the height of the slope to accommodate drainage and make sure that everything drains into the pit center. We're not proposing any discharge. There's no new impervious surface proposed as part of this. All the stormwater will be contained on site. There's no runoff off-site proposed, so no increases anywhere to stormwater.
okay.
From our perspective, from an engineering perspective, this is pretty simple. It's just
Right, you're
kind of
just doing what you're doing.
So as part of this, the AOT permit will have a reclamation plan with details, and it's in the notes, basically, that everything's got to be stabilized when it's done.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about this? For the back, it's obvious because I've seen on the map it's a higher grade.
Yes.
But is it on the front where it's shaded gray? Is that down or is that up?
So this is it. So what happens is right now the pit's there's a big hole right here, and then it comes up. This proposed grade will come down. It's flat all the way across here, largely flat, and then right along Route 3, right here, there'll be a little bump up and down. So a little bit of screening right on that edge right there. And the power line, the Eversource power line easement runs through here as well. So yeah, there would be a little bit it would come up a little bit. I think we're proposing it's 6, 2, 4, 6, 8. It's about 10. It comes up about 10 feet and then back down to the road. At some point in the future, if they decided to come back for permission to develop the site, that can be leveled out so the whole thing is flat like it is on the abutting property now.
Okay. Does anybody else have a question?
And the other question I was going to ask is, I think it said that access was going to be from the Bridgewater lot, not from the Route 3 road?
It'll be from Route 3, but it'll come through the existing
Through the
pit.
existing pit.
If again, if you're ever down there and drive by, you can see they've got a really nice access point right now. It's all wide open. So there's no point in creating another access over here. Just, they own both parcels. They can just access it through that existing pit.
Okay, so that's good. No new access point. Okay.
I think you can see in the application, all the abutters have sent correspondence requesting that relief from the setbacks be granted. All the abutters are in favor of the project.
Okay, you know what I was going to ask, what about any of the residential homes that are mentioned? There's 3 or 4, there's one separate one. I didn't see any, they're not, I guess, abutters, but let's see, on page, yes, of your letter, page 2, paragraph 3, you mentioned the lot is very steep and it's mostly undeveloped land except for one home, which is about 50 feet from the property line. And then in the next paragraph, it mentions there are only 3 residential lots to the west of the site.
Yeah, so there's the closest residence, I think, is down on the other side over here of the Bridgewater pit. So I think we were talking about the site as a whole. And then I think the next residential property over here was Whippoorwill.
Okay.
How close is that to the Whippoorwill?
It's fairly close. I mean,
Right
you can
there.
see their access road. This is one of their wells right here, and we've been
Oh, yeah.
working with them
Okay.
as well on some stuff. So they're well aware of what's been going on, and they actually have a water supply well that's going to go on this Bridgewater parcel. So Whippoorwill and Ambrose Brothers have been in pretty regular communication, so they're well aware. They don't have any objections to this.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and the other residential properties, I'm trying to think of where, it might be abutting the lot,
I think it's
which, is it the one?
it's Jeff and Janet Hiltz, but it's not, it's vacant land.
Okay,
Yeah,
And actually, the one that's closest to us, we have under agreement with them, so.
okay. Okay,
But
yeah,
then the
I
rest
just,
of them are just vacant,
okay.
land.
I just wondered if there was anybody, out there that,
yeah. I think the only occupied is Whippoorwill.
anybody abutting this lot that's an
Yeah.
occupied residential property would be.
okay.
And I see the president of Whippoorwill, it does say on their sign when you drive by, that it's a resident-owned
Yes, they're
community.
cooperative, yes.
So have they all in that community been notified?
I believe the board has, yeah, they're the governing body of that. And Mike Vittum is the president.
He lives there?
Yes.
He lives there, okay.
Other
pardon
properties are not.
To kind of go a little deeper on your question, Stephanie, when there is a homeowners association, that is where the notice goes. If there isn't one, then each individual would be
Would be
notified.
notified.
Right.
Yeah, Whippoorwill's one lot of record. The whole thing is one parcel that's owned by the members
Right.
of the individual homes. So
Okay, and I noted in your application in paragraph 4, you explained that the pit, you're not really, it's not like you're just trying to accelerate what you're doing, you're just going to continue the same amount that you're excavating and just, it gives you more space to do that?
Yeah.
Or more,
Yeah, basically, just the way the property lines meet at a high point, to be able to daylight it on both sides, which we wouldn't be doing a lot into the Plymouth piece for a little while. But being able to, instead of just having, dig down on one side and have a 20-foot tall slope going up to a property line and then coming, right now it just comes right back down. Because they kind of dug to that Plymouth Bridgewater property line back in the 70s. And so you go up and then you come to the property line and then you abruptly go down.
you can actually see that. This is topo, so you can see this is kind of the lower level that Rob is talking about, and then it comes up to a high point right here, and then it goes right back down again on the other side. So
okay.
it's kind of it's weird right now, and yeah, I have to carry that same elevation over here all the way through.
Okay. All right, well, I don't have any other questions. Butch, do you have any questions?
I can't think of any. Now, the power lines run right through there, right?
Right here.
Yeah.
along the road.
Yeah.
But as much as on the Bridgewater side as on
Yeah.
Plymouth, it's the easement right through theirs.
Do you have any problem? You don't have any problems with that? Power company doesn't have any problem?
No, we have to you know.
If they're working within the right of way, they have to get approval
Yeah.
from the power company. But in order to even approach them, you've got to get approval to do the pit first, so. Yeah, and if the power company, if there's any, I mean, we can do this without being in there if we had to, but.
And it is pretty tough to do. I mean, you don't want the power lines falling down on you, so it's kind of.
Right, yeah. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I'll open the public hearing now and ask if there's anybody who would like to speak in favor of the proposal.
Well, Frank Miller, and I've been driven by this for quite a few years, and it's a logical application, continuation of an existing process. The fact that it's not going to be a pit, it's actually going to be a level out, I believe, in the end, will provide a use of the property after, several years gone by and all the materials gone, that we would then be able to put other residents on it. So I would recommend approval.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Okay, is there anybody who would like to make neutral comments or speak in opposition? Okay, seeing
If
none.
I may, but not as the public, just more useful information.
Sure.
I did reach out to the Department of Transportation to ask if they had any issues with increased usage of that particular driveway. They assured me that Route 3 is more than capable of taking care of any of the truck traffic, and if there was, the only control they would have would be on the driveway cut itself, based on traffic flow and the width of the vehicles. That would all occur on private property, but the state could compel them to upgrade if necessary. But they didn't anticipate any damage to the highway itself.
Okay, great, and thank you, Brian. I was going to get to you next.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That I had asked him to look into it, an opinion just from our state, having no knowledge myself of excavations. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any perceived threat to the highway that I didn't know about. So I appreciate you doing that. But, okay, well, why don't we, here, I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you. And why don't we make some findings of fact? And then what I propose we do is go through our own criteria, and then we'll go through the state criteria, since the state criteria mentions having met all of the local standards. Okay, so first thing, how about a project is a continuation of an excavation site in Bridgewater.
Maybe into an abandoned pit? Would you call it an abandoned pit?
We
Hasn't
should
been
say
excavated since 1972.
the proposed site in Plymouth was a previous and abandoned gravel pit. Or, I don't know if that's technically correct. Was it a gravel pit or was it a excavation site? Is that
Actually,
proper?
before the power plant was there, it was Paquette Paving.
Uh-huh.
They had an asphalt plant there, so they
Okay.
dig the gravel there, mix it into the asphalt,
Got it.
Okay.
and
So a gravel pit.
progress through there. There's a couple other owners.
Okay. So is gravel pit
Yes.
good
Probably
enough?
about as accurate.
Good, okay. Gravel pit, all right. Access to proposed site will occur through Bridgewater site. What else do we need?
So wooded lot with no ponds or rivers, right?
Okay.
So wooded lot with no ponds or rivers.
Well drained.
Yeah,
Well
no,
drained.
Okay, no ponds or rivers? Ponds, rivers, wetlands. What was that? Reclamation plan is contemplated. Okay,
It does abut residential.
okay, oops, that's good. Abuts residential, what do we call Whippoorwill? Residential,
Community,
Community.
yeah.
okay, community, but but homeowners association, is that what you call it?
Yeah, homeowners association supports the project.
Yep, association supports. Okay, we had no opposition. Proposed.
One resident spoke in favor.
Yep, one. Okay, I think that's good.
DOT doesn't have any problem with it.
And, yeah, New Hampshire DOT was contacted. Was it DOT or was it DE? Did you?
DOT.
It was DOT. New Hampshire DOT was contacted and did not foresee problem. Okay.
Did get 3 letters.
Any letters of support?
Two letters of support, one of no objection.
Okay. Two
I think
letters
there's
of
a slight
support,
difference, but,
no objection. Okay.
but they do say approve, that they request that we approve, so I think that's support.
Yeah, I'd say 3 letters
3
of
letters of
support.
support.
Okay. Okay.
They're from abutters too, I think, right? The letters of support.
Yeah, they were all, the abutters were notified.
One of the critical points in those letters is that the abutters are also requesting approval to excavate up to the property line. Because that was one of the things where if that's not specifically requested by the abutter, it defaults to a 10-foot setback.
Right.
Anybody that asks that, we really want to be able to have the ability to run that slope
Okay.
right
Okay.
up to the property line.
And could you explain why
Well,
that's
it's more
important?
material, and that, so basically 10 feet, you figure the wedge of 10 feet of material all the way down to the bottom of that slope.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit more material and ends up in 10-foot more space all the way around to create a bigger flat area down there.
Okay.
And again, the butters didn't object, and therefore the 155E says that they have to request that.
Right, okay, all
It
right.
does, all of them do say that. They
Paragraph
say-
2
Mhm.
of
Yep.
that statute.
Should we put in there that they're gonna, this is to allow them to go through, start all the licensing and stuff that they'll need, right?
Right.
Right,
If there are further steps
can't-
that they have to go through, that they
Right.
can't just start
I
excavating.
think when
tomorrow.
we do our approvals, isn't that within the?
Yeah, it would be a
We just
condition of
mentioned that as a
approval.
condition of
It's
approval, that
boilerplate.
all appropriate
point.
permits are obtained and
Okay.
all of that, okay? So I think we can do that. So what we have to do right now is find my criteria, here it is. We'll go through our,
Are the criteria in our
Madam Chair,
packet too?
point of order.
yeah, isn't it? Yeah, here it is.
Do you,
Yeah.
do you ask for a confirmation vote on the findings of fact? Is policy or not?
We haven't, we just make our findings of fact as a board, and then we move into the criteria. So let's look at number 1. The proposed use shall be only those allowed in this ordinance by special exception. I would add or clarify that that's per RSA 155E-4, Section 3. Okay, that's the statute that requires us or calls this application a special exception. Stephanie?
I think that's true.
Okay, true.
True.
Okay. Number 2, the specific site is an appropriate location and of adequate size for the use.
I think that's true.
I believe that's true.
True.
Okay. And I would note on that in their application, the applicant showed us that approximately one-third of the property that it's in Plymouth was already used, but two-thirds it remains. So,
And it's a 3.15 acre.
Acres, right.
lot, yeah.
okay. Number 3, the use as developed will not adversely affect the character of the area in which the proposed use will be located.
True?
I believe that's true.
True.
And the applicant noted the surrounding commercial uses of its abutters and the businesses out there. Number 4, there will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians.
True?
I find that true,
True.
and I would say that's, there's not really an expansion of the operation here. The trucks are going to be going in and out of Bridgewater, and we didn't see any other hazard.
It's on a straight section of road, too.
So, number 5, the use will not place excessive or undue burden on town services and facilities.
True?
I would say that's true,
True.
and that's in accordance with all of the permits or anything that's required in order to undergo this kind of activity. Number 6, there would be no significant effect resulting from such use upon the public health, safety, and general welfare of the neighborhood in which the use would be located.
That's true.
I believe that's true.
True.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to,
Madam Chair,
yes?
state criteria?
Yep, we're going to
Oh.
approve this first because the state criteria includes meeting the criteria of our local ordinance. So
No, thank
I
you.
would entertain a motion to accept or approve the special exception.
So moved.
Butch,
Second?
Stephanie second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, that's approved. Now we have to look at the, where did it go? The
It's
state.
just above the criteria on the planner's report.
Here it is. Wait a minute. Yes, here it is. All right, so this is right from the statute. A, the excavation will not cause a diminution in area property value or unreasonably change the character of the neighborhood.
True.
I believe that's true.
True.
Okay, based on the fact that it's all commercial businesses around that area.
And there's a,
And the
there's a pit
residential
that
property,
already
which is
abuts
a
it.
community. B, the excavation will not unreasonably accelerate the deterioration of highways or create safety hazards in the use thereof.
It's true.
I say that's true.
True.
And I would cite our communication with the New Hampshire DOT. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. C, the excavation will not create any nuisance or create health or safety hazards.
That's true.
I believe that's true,
True.
and I would say because it's simply continuing what's been going on right next to it for years. And D, the excavation complies with such other special exception criteria as may be set out in applicable local ordinances. And that would be our special exception.
Which is true.
True.
True. Okay, so now I would entertain a motion to approve based on the state criteria.
So moved.
Second?
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. It's a two-tiered special exception. First one we've had. So congratulations and thank you. You did a great job presenting, crossing all the Ts and dotting the Is.
You guys will get a copy of the OT application and I can file this. Copy of this.
Yes.
We'll file that.
Okay.
And we'll also send a copy of the permit.
Okay, and that's right. We always have a section on,
Is that the only state permit you're
That would
requiring?
be the only state permit
Okay, great.
required here, yeah.
on our special exception, we always include a, just a section at the end that says in compliance or condition on all, compliance with all state and local permits.
Does this require any action by the planning board?
No, it does not.
Great.
Yeah, so, okay,
Well,
thank you very much,
Appreciate your time.
and
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Really helpful having that
Yeah,
plan.
that was great.
seeing how they were gonna grade it.
That was a good presentation, John.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Oh, really?
Okay, so, do we have any unfinished business?
Does the zoning board ever have unfinished business?
No, we like to finish it.
Yes.
Okay.
Before you get to that, I just wanted to say that again, the Planning and Zoning Conference is coming up. Get in touch with me if you want to go.
Yeah, it's really interesting to go to. I've been in the past. Unfortunately, it's not on a good day
Yeah,
for me this
same with
time.
Steph.
So,
Same as me.
yeah, so maybe next time. And how about any new business? Maybe we should wait till next time to do that?
You may,
If
with the full
if
board,
that's okay.
absolutely. So, defer.
Communications and other business, that would be the conference. And I'd just like to say again, thank you, Brian, for reaching out to the DOT. I just felt we needed to have some kind of
No, I appreciate that. That was
little
something I didn't think of.
expertise to know, because I have no idea if doing that has any impact on our highway.
Actually, I would believe that Route 3 is probably stronger than 93, just because of all the concrete that's under it. Dum, dum, dum.
All right, so do we have everything, I think? Do you have anything for us? We got our new,
Just the new
And
books. It's too early to tell if there'll be business next month. The deadline will be the middle of this month.
okay, well, and if, in that case.
I have
then
no
we can
indications of
pick
it in the
the
future.
officers at the next meeting, then. We don't have to have a meeting just for that, right?
No,
Okay.
I mean, it's the matter of policy, and you know, it's always better to have the full board so you can throw one of them under the bus.
Right, exactly.
Stephanie.
No,
Doing such a great job there. I'm like, which
Yeah,
meeting is
right.
that? I think I'm gonna be ill now.
Every Tuesday of the first of the month.
right. Okay, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Okay, it is 7:35. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And thank you for coming.